Welcome to the Tim Booker channel, where wisdom deserves to be shared. Wishing you an enjoyable listening experience. Today, I've written this book for you, titled Joyful. What is happiness? Happiness is a unique and passionately exuberant emotional experience, a high-energy form of well-being. It's challenging to determine if a person is truly happy and satisfied, but can't we all recognize happiness when we see it in someone's eyes? In psychology, happiness is described as a strong, fleeting, and positively oriented emotional experience. We often hear that external circumstances can't bring inner happiness. True happiness resides within us. What sets this book apart is the author's belief that we can create feelings of happiness by changing the material world around us. The author of this book is Ingrid Fetell-Lee, the design director at the renowned American creative firm IDEO. Through years of experience in the design industry, Ingrid has dedicated herself to collecting visual elements that bring her joy. She discovered that there are commonalities among all things that make people happy, those things that make us smile involuntarily when we see them. Thus, she has distilled 10 aesthetic principles of happiness: vitality, abundance, freedom, harmony, play, surprise, transcendence, magic, celebration, and renewal. This book is divided into 10 chapters, each meticulously detailing how these principles make people feel happy. How do these aesthetic qualities relate to our emotions? Why can they evoke feelings of happiness? In this book, it references new research in the fields of psychology and neuroscience to demonstrate how happiness aesthetics can change one's mindset and behavior from the outside in. Ingrid interviews renowned artists and designers, learning their secrets to creating happiness in the material world. Everyone's elements of happiness are unique. For instance, if you're a nature enthusiast, you'll find the freedom element particularly appealing. If you're afraid of heights, transcendence may not interest you. People's needs for happiness vary in different situations. For example, a drab office desperately needs vitality, while a bustling family life requires harmony. When children leave home, a touch of playfulness is needed to rediscover happiness. Next, I'll interpret this book for you in 2 parts. The first part will discuss the specific aesthetic elements and how to arrange them to make yourself feel happier. In the second part, we'll delve into abstract aesthetic elements that require awakening your inner senses. Are you ready to explore the guide to happiness? Let's begin. First, let's talk about the specific visual aesthetic elements, primarily vitality, abundance, freedom, and harmony. One of the most critical elements in the aesthetics of happiness is vitality. Vitality is essentially the essence of life. Ingrid believes that the higher our energy levels, the stronger our vitality, enabling us to play, create, celebrate, and actively engage with the world around us. So, scenes filled with vitality have a positive impact on our nerves and make us happier. What constitutes a vibrant scene? Ingrid defines vitality in the visual sense as dynamic, light, and color. Humans can distinguish up to 7 million shades of color, a visual capability most mammals lack. Unlike other mammals, humans don't rely heavily on their sense of smell for finding food. Bright colors often signify ripe and delicious fruit, associating vibrant colors with happiness. Birds, on the other hand, have even greater color-changing abilities. When building nests, bowerbirds use flowers, green leaves, shells, and even colorful pieces of plastic to construct intricate structures. These colorful nests signify vitality and creativity, making these birds more appealing to potential mates. The colors of vitality can also alter the fate of a city. Take, for instance, Durrës, the capital of Albania. At the end of the 20th century, Durrës was a dangerous and decaying city, a haven for corrupt individuals and the underworld. Thieves and prostitutes roamed the dark corners, garbage piled up on the streets, left unattended. In 2000, a new mayor named Edi Rama took charge of the city. Rama felt a sense of urgency. He described the city as having lost its vitality, comparing it to a transit point where people were forced to stay while waiting for something. One of his first significant decisions as mayor was to personally design sketches, select bright colors, and employ exaggerated patterns to change the bleak and gray appearance of the city. As citizens watched the construction unfold, they were surprised to see a once gray and dilapidated historic building transformed with vibrant orange paint. This striking color extended from one wall to another. Though citizens were initially puzzled, smiles gradually appeared on their faces, and they began discussing the bright and beautiful colors. Initially, there was panic, curiosity, and joy, but soon something magical occurred. For some unknown reason, littering reduced, citizens started paying their taxes voluntarily, and store owners removed the bars from their windows. Although the number of police officers on the streets remained the same, people felt safer. Cafes buzzed with activity as people gathered to discuss how to nurture and educate the next generation in this new city. 5 years later, the city's business activities tripled, tax revenues increased sixfold, and the additional tax revenue was invested in public development projects. Over 5,000 illegal buildings were demolished, and more than 4,000 trees were planted. What was once a desolate city, plagued by crime, had transformed into a bustling, vibrant place. What was the secret behind this transformation? There were no massive capital investments, no large-scale public projects. Just a few additions of red, yellow, green, and purple paint, and everything changed. The city was brimming with joy and dignity. These beautiful colors seemed to send a message to the citizens. Their homes were no longer the garbage city they once described, but a vibrant and lively haven. One citizen remarked that even if you were a busy person, you could feel the city's complete transformation. Rama, due to this colorful movement, successfully rejuvenated the city and earned the title of the world's best mayor in 2004. Rama, a former designer, understood the uplifting power of colors. In ancient times, colors were crucial for humans because they signified food. Today, colors still have the power to influence our emotions. Apart from vitality, there are several other visual aesthetic elements, namely abundance and harmony. Abundance shares similarities with vitality as both emphasize rich visual experiences, but abundance represents a diverse, overflowing, and ever-changing feeling. For instance, a rainbow with 7 colors or a chest of jewels filled to the brim. On the other hand, harmony implies balance, symmetry, and flow, such as elegantly symmetrical patterns. Examples include the intricate symmetry of a snowflake, synchronized dances, or the smooth curves of precious jade. Ingrid believes that humans are naturally drawn to things that exhibit harmony because we inherently desire order and neatness. Human life is a constant process of turning disorder into order. Take, for example, the sense of pride and visual delight that arises when we see the impeccably organized formations during a national parade or the synchronized movements in the opening ceremony of the 2008 Olympics. There's a popular blog called Neatly Arranged Things that caters to this visual pleasure of harmony. The blog showcases various collections of neatly arranged objects, giving the impression of an enthusiastic house cleaner categorizing and neatly arranging items from around the world. For instance, fallen leaves might be arranged in a gradient by color, or feathers might be arranged in order of size. Because of our innate desire for harmony, our eyes naturally seek out similarities and categorize objects accordingly. So, if you can find commonalities among different objects, you can create a cohesive whole. These commonalities can be based on size, color, shape, material, and more. Ingrid provides an example where she noticed a mismatched light green vase in her bedroom, an unattractive sight. Upon further inspection, she found a light green book on her bookshelf and 2 light green matchboxes in the kitchen. She decided to place them together on the hallway table. These seemingly ordinary items transformed into an attractive, interesting vignette in her home. You can apply this principle in many places. For instance, attaching things to a bulletin board using pins of the same color to create a visually pleasing display. Replacing all your hangers in the wardrobe with identical ones will make opening the closet a joy, resembling the neatness of a clothing store. If you happen to be a collector, such as a beautiful tableware or stationery, you can group items of similar sizes together to make them appear as a set. Renowned Japanese organization expert Marie Kondo utilizes this principle when organizing socks. She rolls them into sushi-like shapes, standing them tightly on one side of a drawer. This simple approach turns previously disorganized socks into a harmonious arrangement, injecting a soothing sense of order. Another visual element of happiness is renewal. Renewal implies prosperity and expansion, often represented by curves. For example, the blossoms of spring flowers and the contours of abundant wildlife. Similar to vitality, renewal also signifies robust vitality. Early humans noticed that fresh flowers were a sign of forthcoming food. Several weeks or months after flowers bloomed, edible fruits and seeds would appear where the flowers had been. Humans learned to predict the ripening of fruits, allowing them to return to these locations before birds or other animals could consume the harvest. Although we no longer rely on picking fruits or associate flower appearances with the arrival of fruits, the presence of flowers still brings us joy and instinctively fills us with anticipation for the future. Having discussed specific visual elements of aesthetic happiness, let's now explore more abstract elements like freedom, surprise, playfulness, and celebration. These elements have a deeper impact on our emotions. First, let's talk about freedom. For the average 9-to-5 office worker, freedom might seem like a distant luxury. However, whether it's a wilderness, vast grasslands, serene lakes, open spaces, or even a park, these environments can evoke a sense of freedom. Studies have shown that residents living in areas with more extensive green spaces experience lower rates of anxiety and depression. When people are in nature, blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for intense problem-solving, decreases, leading to a more relaxed physiological state. Now, let's delve into the element of surprise. Surprise refers to strong contrasts, whimsical ideas, and exaggerated patterns, such as graffiti with bold designs or hidden Easter eggs containing gifts. Surprise can also result from unexpected events, like encountering your favorite actor filming a movie on the street or unexpectedly finding a bonus when opening a beverage bottle, like a "get one more" message under the cap. Some unplanned changes, such as an earlier arrival of spring this year or early blooming flowers downstairs, can also significantly improve our mood. Ingrid mentions a small detail. Once when she put on a coat she hadn't worn for 6 months and put her hands in the pockets, she was pleasantly surprised to find a few seashells inside. It reminded her of a happy memory. These shells were collected on the beach earlier. Since then, she has started putting small mementos like beautiful stones or nuts in the pockets of her coats and handbags. When she inadvertently touches these cute little items, it feels like receiving a gift to herself. Surprise can also be applied to interior design. Ingrid mentions a restaurant in New York called Dimes. While the restaurant's overall design may be somewhat conservative, the restroom will leave you amazed. The walls, ceiling, and floor of the restroom are painted in vibrant colors, making it feel like you've entered a magical world. Ingrid suggests applying this kind of design to your room as well, such as painting the inner walls of closets and kitchen cabinets with bright colors or transforming the interiors of your drawers. This way, every time you open or pull out a drawer, you'll experience a brand new surprise. Surprises are also common in digital events. Many developers design interesting content, often referred to as Easter eggs, hidden within various software. These Easter eggs are triggered when users perform specific actions. For example, in a music app, there's a song called Hedwig's Theme. Hedwig is Harry Potter's owl. If you silently tap this song 9 3/4 times between the 9th and 10th comments in the comment section, it's equivalent to knocking on the wall of platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross Station. Of course, this is a location in Harry Potter, where the wall leads to the magical world. At this point, an animation of a magically torn hole appears on your phone screen, and a train to the magical world stops right in front of you. If you save this song, an owl will appear on your screen. Such Easter eggs may not have practical use, but they can bring a smile to anyone who discovers them. A smile is an extremely valuable emotional currency. These moments of happiness, even though fleeting, often have a lasting impact. A bit of positive emotion can spiral upwards, diverting attention from frustrating issues to the present moment. Another essential element of aesthetic happiness is playfulness. Ingrid interviewed Stuart Brown, the founder of the American Gaming Association. Many years ago, he was tasked with studying murderers in a Texas prison system and found that almost all violent criminals had either lacked play or deviated from conventional play in their lives. Some had abusive or strict parents, while others were solitary and lacked friends or family. For various reasons, their childhoods were severely deprived of normal play. Brown believes that most people tend to spend their leisure time doing chores, sending emails, or engaging in passive activities like snacking, watching TV, or online shopping. However, the happiest individuals always remember to play. It's important to note that this form of play is not electronic gaming but rather simple interactions between people. They actively engage in leisure activities, perform impromptu comedy acts, participate in band performances on weekends, organize family games in the evening, or set aside an hour each week for watercolor doodling. Furthermore, these happy individuals often incorporate the spirit of playfulness into their everyday lives. They playfully interact with friends during dinner, engage in light-hearted dog races in the park, and introduce playful elements into their marriages and formal meetings. This form of play is not about being careless or indifferent, rather, it reflects a carefree attitude. For instance, some people may opt for solemn weddings, but these happy individuals joyfully dance to the music at their weddings. In human behavior, mischievous smiles, silly expressions, and playful gestures all signal the beginning of play. These cues invite others into a joyful and safe space. Unlike the rigid rules of everyday seriousness, the world of play rarely relies on language and logic. Ingrid suggests that these expressions represent the original form of nonviolent, secure, and happy communication among mammals. Another element is transcendence, which refers to things that rise and float. This includes transparent soap bubbles that children love to play with, ascending helium balloons, and small birds in flight. Another element is enchantment, denoting things that evoke a dreamlike sense, such as the ever-changing auroras in the Arctic. These two elements are relatively straightforward to understand, so let's move on to the final element, which is celebration. This involves collective activities like music concerts where everyone sings together, fireworks lighting up the night sky during festivities, or grand parades in carnivals. Celebration signifies synchronized crowds, dazzling or eruptive displays, and large decorative items. For example, in an amusement park, the person who wins a game often receives an oversized plush toy. When someone wins a prize, the presenter often hands over a giant ceremonial check with the prize amount, adding to the festive atmosphere. Opening a large bottle of champagne at a party feels more celebratory than opening 2 standard bottles of wine. In festivals on the grasslands, you'll often find a massive roasted lamb. This is because large objects bring immense joy. They are usually the focal point of celebration events, acting as beacons that draw people's attention. Therefore, starting from a certain year, Ingrid's family stopped setting up Christmas trees. Over the following years, although they continued to sing carols, hang fairy lights, and exchange gifts, the holiday no longer felt the same. Without the visual focal point of the Christmas tree, the celebration lost its center. Throughout history, celebrations worldwide have had various visual centers, such as bonfires, feasts, dragon and lion dances, and parade floats. When people gather to gaze at these unusual large objects, they forget their worries and differences, collectively reveling in the joy of the moment. This behavior allows us to set aside barriers and become one with those around us. Ingrid repeatedly mentions a person in her book, named John Zanzilli. John initially always carried a helium balloon that made him happy, and so everyone started calling him Balloon Boy. Then, by almost sheer coincidence, someone found his balloons beautiful and offered to pay him to attend a party, with the condition that he brings along many balloons. From that point on, Balloon Boy started a balloon business, bringing a variety of colorful and beautiful balloons to events like weddings, birthdays, and BMI parties. In the first half of the story, it aligns with various elements of aesthetic happiness we've discussed, such as the vibrant and abundant colors, the floating balloons representing transcendence and surprise. However, in recent years, he has stopped this business and started creating large balloon installations. But he has one condition: he doesn't take orders for private displays. Instead, he insists on setting up his balloons in public places where anyone passing by can experience the joy his creations bring. John understands that celebration is not the private property of hosts and guests, it should bring joy to everyone. Human celebrations have always been public events throughout history, and at the core of these celebrations is the idea that the more you share with others, the happier you become yourself. Perhaps we should manage happiness in a completely opposite way to conventional management. We should strive to spend all our happiness, using music, fireworks, large balloons, and glitter to make as many people as possible happy during celebrations. Only through this approach can we attain truly enduring happiness. Sure, here's the translation of the provided content. Alright, the essence of this book has been decoded for you up to this point. In this book on the aesthetics of happiness, Ingrid presents 10 aesthetic principles of happiness, which are vitality, abundance, freedom, harmony, playfulness, surprise, transcendence, magic, celebration, and renewal. So, how can you find the elements that make you the happiest? I've compiled a list for you. You can try to find pen and paper or just answer these questions in the comments to understand your own aesthetic happiness profile. The first set of questions is about places. You can ask yourself 3 questions. Where do I feel the happiest? What is it about those places that makes me happy? What aesthetic elements do these places embody? For example, my answer is that I feel happy on a small island in my hometown where there is abundant sunshine, a constant sea breeze, vast landscapes, and few people. In this case, the place embodies the aesthetic elements of freedom and transcendence. Alright, the second set of questions is about people. Take a moment to think about the people you know. Who are the happiest among them? Why do these people make you feel happy? Describe what aesthetic elements these happy people represent. In my circle, there's an actor friend who is the happiest. He interacts with others like a child, always approachable for conversations with strangers and ready to dance anywhere, without caring about others' judgment. He embodies the aesthetic elements of vitality, freedom, and playfulness. The third set of questions is about objects. Think about the objects in your home that make you happy. Why do these things make you feel happy? What aesthetic elements do they represent? In my home, what makes me happy is the corner with various green plants on the balcony. These plants radiate vitality, and they are always blooming with new growth or flowers. This is like a mini botanical garden within the residential space, filled with the aesthetic elements of vitality, freedom, and transcendence. The fourth set of questions is about activities. What activities make you the happiest? Why do these activities bring you happiness? What aesthetic elements do these activities contain? For instance, I enjoy dancing and skiing, and I also like keeping my room tidy. So, what I value are vitality, freedom, and harmony, these 3 aesthetic elements. Now that you've gone through these 4 sets of questions, you should have a clear idea of which aesthetic elements make you happy. For example, in my answers, vitality, freedom, and transcendence are recurring elements. Based on these keywords, I can find small inspirations to bring more happiness into my life. Since I like vitality, I should try to decorate my workspace and home with a natural touch, and maybe even experiment with wearing colorful clothes. Because I appreciate freedom, perhaps on the weekends, I should opt for going to the park or hiking. These seemingly small changes, when combined, can refresh and transform one's spirit. So, what are the aesthetic elements of happiness that touch your heart? What little things make you happy? Please write them in the comments and share with me. That's the essence of this book. Congratulations, you've completed another book. Wishing you a happy day. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, like, and share with your family and friends. Wisdom deserves to be spread. Embrace a brighter future. Thank you, and goodbye.